this point, what is there even to say about Fallout 76? It has been said a million times before. The game is a buggy mess with underwhelming graphics, horrible combat, no NPCs, no good story, and too many aspects of it are just ripped right from Fallout 4. But yeah, you've heard this a million times unless you're living under some kind of a rock. However, even though I'm not a hardcore Fallout fan, I've only played 4 in New Vegas actually, I think this game is a little bit overhated? Now, don't get me wrong, it's unacceptable for Bethesda to release a game in this state. But for once on this channel, I'm actually going to say something positive instead of jumping on the bandwagon. So here are the 5 things that Fallout 76 did right, in no particular order. Also, one more thing, I'm not defending this game, okay? There's still way more negatives than positives here. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Anyways, let's get on with the f***ing video.
Country roads, take me home.
Now this is definitely a controversial pick. In fact, pretty much everything on this list is a controversial pick. But I think one of the greatest new things added to this buggy, watered down mess of a game was the new multiplayer system. And I know that multiplayer was made to make up for the lack of NPCs in the game, which it doesn't, like at all. But I still think that multiplayer is one of the greatest new things added to this game. It really differentiates it from the rest of the series, even if it has its issues. Like push-to-talk not being a thing whatsoever.
Hey, who the fuck is talking right now? Shut the fuck up! Tell your mom to shut up! I'm trying to fucking play Fallout!
Like multiplayer mode not even being optional in the first place. Like they really should have done what GTA 5 did, where they had like a single player campaign and then they had like Fallout Online or something. That would make it work a lot better. But despite all that, there still is a lot of fun to be had here. You can trade things with people, you can laugh at the game's shitty emotes, or you can just mess around in the random events that happen. Also, I think the system that encourages not griefing other players is genius, where you have to attack someone first before they can start doing real damage to you. It makes PvP optional, which, you know, multiplayer isn't optional to begin with, so I guess it's a good touch. Well anyways, enough rambling about this game's okay multiplayer, let's get on with the next option. Also, please add push-to-talk.
Country roads, take me home.
Now here's a huge improvement from Fallout 4. The map in this game is f***ing
Bigger and better.
It's 4 times bigger than Fallout 4's map.
It is 4 times the size of Fallout 4.
And the map itself is f***ing gorgeous. Some people complain that it's too big and that it's kind of empty and barren. Like a wasteland, like a Fallout. But it still has its fair share of memorable locations. And yes, some will argue that the map size is actually a detriment because it limits player interaction. Because puzzlingly, you can only have about 20 people in one game, so the chances of finding another player are pretty slim. And while that is true, you can't deny what Bethesda has created here. As they say, the map comes first. And while I personally think it looks a little bit too foresty and not wastelandy enough, you know, in comparison to the other maps, it's still a pretty overall solid map. So the character creator in Fallout 4 was one of the greatest I've seen in the game ever, rivaling Saints Row and Skyrim. But this game's character creator really bumped it up a notch. At first glance it seems like, guess what, a carbon copy of Fallout 4's character creator, but it's a lot more in depth. You can legitimately create whatever type of character you want here, more so than any other Fallout game so far. And I always kind of thought that creating an in-depth looking character in a single player game where you're in power armor half of the time was kind of pointless. But since this game is multiplayer, it actually serves more of a purpose here. More customization is always a welcome change.
Country roads, take me home.
The survival aspect of this game is yet another controversial one, but to me, it's a welcome change. Instead of being an optional expert mode, it's part of the game now, and it doesn't make it ruthlessly difficult or anything. Weapons and armor will degrade and wear like back in New Vegas. You have a food and water meter as well. Meaning food actually matters in this game, and you shouldn't just use syringes all the time like in Fallout 4. And like I've said before, anything that adds to that wasteland, man against the world vibe is fine by me. Food might carry disease now, and it might even spoil if you have it too long. Some people like the realism, others don't, I understand that, but I think it really works in this series. It seems like a cool change, and I really hope it continues in Fallout 5. Like I said, it was unacceptable for them to release a game in this state, and they know it. They've been releasing bug patches, one of which was really big and barely fixed anything, but let's ignore that. And all kinds of other shit to try to make Fallout 76 a good and playable experience. And while it should have been a good and playable experience on launch, and they shouldn't have rushed it so much, it's nice to see that they're trying, actually. And yeah, this could be because they're apparently getting sued, but give them credit, alright? I'm already making a video on a game people stopped caring about 2 weeks ago on a dead channel. Give me credit. Also, don't get your hopes up for Elder Scrolls 6, by the way.
Okay, dance up, no.